Well, race 1 at VIR was an unmitigated success. Check it out. And now it's time for race 2. This is Viper Cup.
Great job, guys. Great job.
It's a beautiful day on the North Carolina-Virginia border for round number 2 of the Dodge Viper Cup, Virginia International Raceway. A beautiful setting and a very hot day. Here are the results from round number 1 just one day ago. As you can see, Ben Keating, the only guy in the world who's going to say he won the first round of the Dodge Viper Cup. As such, you see he's at the very top of the points chart, just ahead of Jeff Courtney. And then here's how they lined up for this race. Well, a technical anomaly for Jeff Courtney's car sends him all the way to the back of the pack. But as you can see, some of the usual suspects from round number 1 are up front here. Jim Stout with a good start. Ted Hughes alongside him. Sean Bailey, the road and track journalist, has been spectacular this weekend, as has Corey Vetzuk. Larry Carter lines up next to Connie Bogan. Michael Von Quillick and Eric Gallern make up round number 6, and then there's a load soldier in back, and we mean a soldier from the National Guard, Michael Kahn, who is our special guest here this weekend. Well, the Whelen Engineering lights go on, and when they go off, we're racing. Whoa, but Rolf von Engelbrechten, there is a move right off the bat.
Jim Stout, unfortunately, on that drag race, red lighted. He smoked his tires, he's going to lose a bunch of spots.
So Jim Stout, just a little bit anxious there. Some people say when you blow the start, you should just go. Use the grass or whatever you have to do, because you know you're coming in anyway. There's a good fight for second place between Verges and Keating down into turn number 1. But it's Ryan Schimsk right out of the hole. How fast can you get going on cold tires? These Michelin tires are spectacular, Rolf, but on cold tires, he is being very, very daring.
It's a steaming hot day, but he's still got a good tire temperature, as does the rest of the field. So everybody's going to be feeling their way around. Oh, there's a nice little move by Schimsk. Little catch through the S's, but definitely doesn't have tire temperature up yet.
You get the feeling it never lifted through that either. Ryan Schimsk, this youngster, has been impressing everyone trackside. I think we might see our next Viper star here, attacking through the high-speed S's down towards Oak Tree, visibly quick as he gets down into the braking zone. Ryan Schimsk in that number 67 camo car. Have you noticed from time to time he just disappears and all you can see is the number plate?
I keep missing it all the time. Looks like a Cheshire cat out there.
Yeah, maybe it's a cunning strategy. Ben Keating on board with him, and whoa, you can see that's Verges in the number 90 car. Drops his left side wheels, and look at the momentum loss.
That's an opportunity for Keating right there. Stout drops a wheel, and Keating's all over him. There's a nice drag race up the back straight.
Verges side by side with Ben Keating. Now here's a view from Ben's car. As you can see, Verges just a little bit later under braking. He wanted it more, and Ben Keating just lives to fight another day.
Saving that paint job, I think, for a couple more laps, but Verges definitely kept his boot in it a little bit longer, and that was just enough to stay in front.
You know, that could have been a disaster for Verges, but he manages to get through. Looking back to 4th place, that's Sean Bailey in the road and track car, as he's got a good fight in his hands. On the front straightaway, now up to speed, and I dare say the tires do have temperature in them now, Rolf.
He's got Vetzuk right behind Bailey. This is a great-looking battle for all top 5 spots right now.
Keith Verges, from his point of view, that is his objective. And Verges looks like he drops a couple of left side wheels off in the first turn, and look at the momentum change there.
Wow, that was a big wiggle, and everybody drives right on by.
So as Keith Verges really had an opportunity to consolidate second place, just a little bit deep in the braking zone, you drop off 2, and that turned out to be a great catch.
Proves how a little mistake makes a big difference on a track like this when you're driving equally prepared Dodge Vipers.
The beneficiary of all of this is Ben Keating, the winner from yesterday. Now has a clear look, wow, at Ryan Schimsk, who's still attacking in the high-speed S's, but I think that car is driving away just a little bit from Ben Keating.
He's staying clean and he's putting great laps and great corners together here, just driving away a little bit every single segment of the track.
Affords himself a little look in the rearview mirror and sees the margin now back to Ben Keating. Bailey in behind him. He'll drop a couple of wheels. As just in yesterday's race, as we said, that Oak Tree exit gets a little bit more complicated every time somebody drops those left side tires off.
Somehow they're trying to make it wider, but it's not going to happen. They keep putting dirt down and it's just going to make it that much more difficult for everybody to get out. And that costs all the way up the back straight because they're losing terminal speed at the end of the straightaway.
We'll be back after this.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keane, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
Beautiful Alton, Virginia, the site of Virginia International Raceway, and round number 2 of the Dodge Viper Cup. Tom Natcher with Rolf von Engelbrecht. As we pick up the action, we see this battle between Sean Bailey, the journalist from Road and Track magazine, and a newly motivated Keith Verges.
Keith Verges has got the bit between his teeth. Look at the heat out there. Just imagine how hot it is inside these Vipers for these guys. You can see the heat shimmering off the track.
Well, I guarantee you not a single one of them is thinking about the heat at this moment. This is starting to heat up into a great battle, but there are battles all over the racetrack. In round number 2, we see people starting to let their hair down a little bit as opposed to being conservative as they were in race number 1. It's fantastic racing, and it's all identical cars, Ralph. We call this spec racing, but it doesn't seem right to call it spec racing when you're talking about 640 horsepower Dodge Viper ACR X's.
Far from what we would normally call a spec car. These cars are meant for pros. These are for people who really know how to drive and want to go fast.
It's the Viper ACR in kind of a guerrilla format, and it has turned out to be a fantastic race car. On the back straightaway now, Keith Verges trying to pick up that draft of Sean Bailey. Sean Bailey just a little better drive out of Oak Tree, and a mile later, Ralph, you can see it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's an old saying, but a mile an hour faster out of the turn means 3-4 at the end of the back straight, and that's a long way apart. But Verges is definitely catching up to him through some of the twisty bits here.
So using this, there's no point of even trying a pass here. Bailey's not really defending. He's just trying to go as fast as he can onto the front straightaway one more time. And this, again, is a misnomer here at Virginia International Raceway. Not straight at all. A very fast right-hand bend right by this other Oak Tree. And now Verges takes a long look down the inside. Gonna get it done under braking.
Nice move, but can he hold it? That was a really late braking move.
And lots of momentum there, and you guess who knows it? Sean Bailey knows it. Trying to do the old over and under, not quite able to make it work there, but for all intents and purposes, he got the pass made, and it's over with now.
Well, Sean learned something on that as well, and I'm sure he's put that in his back pocket. He'll bring that out again at some point, I'm sure.
A great battle now for third place. As you look just there, caught a glimpse of Ben Keating, as he's driving all by himself and still losing just a tiny bit of time to Ryan Schimsk during every lap. Sean Bailey currently 4th now, and now newly motivated as he drops back a little bit further down towards Oak Tree. But this is his specialty. Always manages to get through Oak Tree very well, and this is an opportunity to make up some room on Verges.
You mentioned Ben Keating. He is sort of in that no man's land right now. He's looking in his mirror and trying to look forward at the same time to catch Ryan Schimsk, who's really running a great race out there.
Ryan Schimsk is now getting an idea of the gap. I don't think he's pushing as hard as he was at the beginning. Now with a comfortable 3.5 or 4 second gap, he can manage that, Rolf.
I don't know if you want to call that comfortable, Tom. 3 or 4 seconds in this series can be made up. One little mistake, dropping a wheel here or there, and everyone's going to be all over him. He's got to concentrate. He's got to stay clean.
Here's a look at Jeff Courtney, who started from the back. His qualifying position was actually on the second row. Currently worked his way up to 7th place. This is a professional driver from the World Challenge, mixing it up with these guys who are really trying this type of Viper racing out for the very first time. So bad luck, just a couple millimeters in ride height as they're trying to work out how to set up these cars. Jeff Courtney now has a big problem as he gets through Oak Tree and then pulls it off.
He was visibly slow, Tom. That last little segment there, we could see the speed really dropping off. I'm not sure what his concern is at this moment.
Well, it looks like he's going through the shutdown procedure in the car. Now we're getting word from race control that he's overheating. So not a big surprise that the car would overheat in a day like today, but perhaps trying, he dropped off a couple of wheels, clogged up that radiator just a little bit.
I was just going to say that on a track like this, it's so easy to pick up some grass.
There's your standings, and there's a look at Michael Kahn. Michael Kahn has a special story all of his own. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Michael Kahn. I'm a soldier athlete in the Outstanding Athlete Program for the National Guard, and I'm a driver on the U.S. bobsled team. I've been in 5 Olympic trials, 1 Olympic Games as an alternate, and 1 Olympic Games as a bronze medalist in the 2002 Games. Without the Outstanding Athlete Program, we would not be in the sport. I've always wanted to be an athlete, dreamed of the Olympics since I was a little kid, and always wanted to be in the National Guard, and matching the 2 up in the Outstanding Athlete Program is perfect for me. Couldn't think of a better way to live my life.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natcher, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the 2 rosters and go, you know, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past. And of course, a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs. And it was spectacular stuff.
Now, Go Racing TV has got all of that action, Trans Am World Challenge, and even some runoff material, all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know, to be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
Back at VIR for round number 2 of the Dodge Viper Cup, and it's official. We've crossed the border of 100 degrees. We pick up, now when we've just come back, we see Jim Stout now coming into pit lane. Ralphie had about 3 laps to report that black flag. He's chosen to string it out for a while.
You definitely want to get as much laps in this before you come in and serve a penalty like that, but it's unfortunate. That stop and go means so much more than the tiny advantage you got on that jump start.
Well, you can see it from Ted Hughes' car. He jumps the start, checks up, and then loses his cool and lights the rear tires, making a bad situation worse. However, it's all moot because now he's in on pit lane. You pick up your leader now, Ryan Schimsk, as he's got nearly the first part of the straightaway between him and Ben Keating. Nothing to worry about out for a Sunday drive. However, it can't be that comfortable inside the car at about the midway point of the race.
Well, these cars are comfortable enough, but I don't think his lead is comfortable yet.
I'm talking about the heat inside the cockpit. Sure, it's a nice seat and everything. As you can see, he's picture perfect. Places the car exactly every lap, the same spot. That's a mark of a real professional.
Minimizing your workload minimizes the amount of energy you've got to expend and minimizes the wear and tear on these tires. He's doing a brilliant job of keeping it clean.
There is your gap back to Ben Keating. A little camera swing there to give you a look at it in real time. This is where Schimsk shines, in these high-speed S's, attacking all of the time, using everything flat out in the Dodge Viper ACRX. As you look back, there's nothing but blue space in between him and Ben Keating. Ben Keating. That's got to be about 7 or 8 seconds. We'll check it the next time by. Out of Oak Tree, picture perfect, has lots of room on the exit for his left side tires. Obviously giving this car its head, letting it do the job for him. There is the space as we come up the straightaway. Now that heat shimmer is starting to take on a more artistic look here for round number 2 of the Dodge Viper Cup.
These giant V10s are creating so much heat themselves. It must be unbelievably warm in those cockpits.
So here we go down through the back, down by Hog Barn. This is a very technical part of the track, but you want to carry momentum out of this turn because the next one's the second longest straight on the circuit, and a long one at that, 3,000 feet.
Last corner leading on to the longest straight is the most important corner on the track. Keeping the wheels pointed in the right direction is absolutely key. No slip, no slide. Get the power down and get the terminal speed that you really want.
Well, Jeff Courtney has decided to abandon ship, at least for the time being, get a cool drink at the starter stand. There is the way they're running now after 10 of 15 laps.
He certainly doesn't look very happy there. That's an unfortunate situation for Courtney.
We'll take a little bit of a break, too, from the race and spend some time with Ralph Gilles, President and CEO of Dodge.
I think the ACRX is nothing more than a distilled version of the ACR. We take out a lot of stuff, the AC, some of the interior comfort items, the insulation, get about 200 pounds out of the car. And then we augment the suspension, it's a little bit stiffer. We have extra downforce in the form of some winglets, and then the tire. The Michelin tire is a phenomenal piece of engineering. So you combine all those things together and you get one of the fastest supercars in the world. I think the term halo is misused. It should be called passion car. Because the Viper is really about that. It's showing the most passionate innards of the Dodge brand coming out, and that's what this car is all about. It's very much the best people inside, the motorsports gurus, so to speak, giving you their craft. Well, it's because it's such a value. I mean, you look at, I'm a big believer in spec racing because it makes it all about the driver. You know, and the Viper is one of the last true driver's cars. There's no electronic gizmos to help you out. It's you and the machine. So you take a car this capable and you combine that with some willing, amazing people, and they know what it's all about. For $120,000, $110,000, you go racing like nothing else. Yeah?
The club, an amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
Back at VIR for round number 2 of the Dodge Viper Cup, and as you can see from this time-lapse photography, occasionally a cloud goes over, and what a relief when it does. Let's pick up the battle between Sean Bailey and Corey Vetzuk, and this one has heated up as we've been away. Vetzuk sees an opportunity here, and he's going to exploit every chance he's got to get by Bailey.
It's great to have a carrot in front of you like that. He's just chasing down Bailey, making Bailey work and be honest for his laps.
Well, you know, you don't often see a journalist come out and race with the big guns this way. Corey Vetzuk, a lot of experience in Dodge Vipers, and Bailey is able to show him just a little something to keep him behind.
It's too bad we lost Bailey in the first round of this series because he's obviously got a lot to show. He's got definite pace and looks fantastic out there. Looks like he belongs in those Vipers.
Yeah, but on his hero reel, that catch from round number 1, or almost catch from round number 1, and Gary Johnson from Dodge said the only consequence from that could be buffed out. That's just lucky on Sean Bailey's part. Now Vetzuk getting a run out of the Oak Tree turn onto the back straightaway. Close enough now, Ralph van Engelbrechten, to catch a draft.
He definitely had a good look there, and I think he's got the bit between his teeth. He thinks he can get him at the end of this straight. I'm not so sure.
Indeed, very ambitious if he thinks he can. There's a look from Sean Bailey's car forward. And no Vetsak going sliding through the inside as we saw earlier from Keith Verges.
Not yet. That looked like a little bit of tail happiness there from Bailey coming through the turn. I think he's looking in the mirror a little too much.
Vetsak now in the wheel tracks, making up room on the hog barn turns as they go back up onto the straightaway. This could be it. He's right there on the back door, Rolf.
This is the opportunity. He's right on top of Bailey. Let's see what happens.
Very fast as they go through that slight bend, and down the inside goes Vetsak. Bailey opens the door, gets it done, and Vetsak very, very deep down into turn number 1. And look what happens. The old over-under move, Rolf.
A little too brave. It looked great, but Bailey knew that he had the pace to come out of the turn and take him back again.
Now they both have one for their hero reel. That was great racing as Vetsak momentarily took the spot away from Sean Bailey. Very cool move on Bailey's part. It is the classic white hat, black hat here, isn't it? And Bailey has the white one on. Vetsak doing his best to be annoying again as they go through the S's. Bailey's got a very, very nice smooth line, whereas you can see Vetsak back there attacking all the way, trying to try the same move again down into Oak Tree.
If you can't pass him, at least fill both mirrors and keep him busy.
And now Bailey looks in his rearview mirror. Is he coming, Vetsak? No, don't quite see him go down the inside there, and more trouble on pit lane, Ralph. Another retirement.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it might be another overheat situation. There's a lot of debris out there being picked up by these rads, and it's a long race. It's a lot of heat.
You know, you look forward to the schedule here for Dodge Viper Cup, and it's going to be hot in a couple of places. We go Oklahoma next, and then at the end of the whole thing, we're going to be in the desert of Nevada. So this is an opportunity to really test these Viper ACRXs among the harshest conditions. I'm certain there'll be improvements made on these cooling systems as we go forward. More looks from Sean Bailey's car. Now let's go back up to the front where Ryan Schimsk still attacking, still on full mode to win this race.
Looks like he has it all his own way, but we know he's driving his heart out, trying to stay in front, and very, very clean.
You know, this is where you're starting to hear every single noise in the car, and all by yourself out there, very easy to get caught into a zone where you're not paying attention to the slightest thing, so Schimsk has to be on his game, but certainly he's in a good position to win this race, as occasionally, there, like there, you can see Keating in the background. And Schimsk, another mark of his maturity, is driving his own race and keeping that gap. Trouble on the front of Keating's car, as he said, little offs here and there. Keating's front splitter has failed, and obviously he's driven over a curb, so that's actually dragging on the road. Aerodynamically, not so good.
It's affecting aero. It could also be affecting cooling because they pull some air up from under the nose on these cars. That may be something that we've seen on some other cars and just didn't quite pick up on.
The camouflage paint job on Schimsk's car is completely pristine. His splitter pristine. His car looks good, and he has not put a wheel wrong all day. And that appears to what you're going to need to do to win a Dodge Viper Cup race. Very high level of competition, straight into the box. I'm going to tell you, Ralph, I've been enjoying it.
Oh, it's been great racing, and it's amazing you touched on this point. The guy who wins often has the cleanest car because they just drive so well, and they don't rub fenders, they don't bump people, and they don't go off.
Well, Schimsk hasn't had anybody in his purview to bump, and that's a good thing. But a moment ago, we saw there was some lap traffic just up front. Let's hope that doesn't play into this as we go into the very final lap, and Schimsk takes the checkered flag. So no bother with lap traffic. Schimsk, Keating, and then the number 90 car over the start-finish line. And as we wrap up this day, we're mindful of the fact that Ryan Schimsk may be in a position to take over the points here if he just gathered up enough here. But it's going to be a good fight as we get to round number 2. Down into victory circle now, let's have a word with Ryan Schimsk.
Well, Ryan Schimsk, as they say in the big leagues, it just does not get any better than that.
Oh yeah, we've been working hard all weekend for that result. Put our best effort in qualifying, luckily got the pole. Had an awesome start. Haven't had a good start like that since I've been driving this car, so got out to an early lead. I was really pushing at the beginning of the race and started to get comfortable and just kind of drove my race and brought it home.
Well, Ben, 2 days, 2 podiums. It doesn't get much better than that.
It does not. We ran a really tough race. We ran a good race all day. Stayed quick. The ViperExchange.com Viper needed just a little bit more to catch Ryan. He ran a great race as well. It was a lot of fun.
Great day for motor racing, but it's also an awfully hot day for motor racing. Did your cool suit actually work?
Thank goodness the cool suit worked. It was roasty toasty in there with the exhaust right next to you on top of everything else. It gets your attention.
So, you know, there's a lot going on at the beginning of the race, but the start was exceptional.
I had a great start, and then on lap 2, I got a little bit wide coming into the first turn, trying to brake late, and a stream of cars went by me, and it was catch-up ever after that.
Well, as we see victory circle here, 3 very proud but very warm drivers standing at the top of the podium. When offered an opportunity to do donuts, Ryan Schimsk said, no thank you very much, I think I'll save the equipment. Gary Johnson and Sylvia Mamone joining the group on the top of the podium as we wrap up round number 2. There are your results. Schimsk over Keating and Verges. Sean Bailey, a great race just over Corey Vetzek. I understand this will be his last race for a while. And there are the points. Ryan Schimsk within 20 points of your leader, Ben Keating, who finishes up in 2nd place. Round number 2 is in the books. We'll see you next time on Dodge Viper Cup.